So, options, right? They are a lot different, but at the same time, they're not. Okay. How many people, before we even dive into this, even know what options are? Do we have people that are kind of familiar with options? Do we have people that are like, no, well, I don't even know what an option is. I've never heard of it before. Where are you guys? I'm curious in the chat. Where do we know options, or we have no idea what they are? What do we got? What do we got? What do we got? I know enough to stay away. But I'm going to show you guys how you can hedge it to your favor as well. I'm going to show you guys hedging and all that good stuff. A little bit, not a lot. All right. Traded options for a few years. Well, I'm about to give you guys a cheat code. I think you need at least 100 shares to trade options, right? No, you do not. You do not need 100 shares. And I'm actually going to give you guys even a crazier thing if you guys ever want to get into options or trade options on the side or trade futures with options or just learn about it, right? It's all what's amazing and beautiful about trading is once you have a strategy, the strategy I teach you guys, you can trade anything. If I wanted to move over to crypto tomorrow, which I'm not, but if I wanted to move over to crypto tomorrow, I could trade crypto with my strategy. I could trade Forex with my strategy. I can trade stocks with my strategy. I can trade so that's the awesome thing about having this system and the strategies. You can trade anything. Okay. So options pretty much mean, right? You trade shares technically on the Nasdaq. What's is cool is that if I do trade options, right, they're only going to be related to the Nasdaq. Okay. What is the Nasdaq? What do we trade every single morning? This guy right here, right? The Nasdaq is an index. Okay. It pretty much holds, it says 100 index futures, right? So it holds tech companies like Facebook, Amazon, Nvidia, Apple, Tesla. All these companies are inside of the Nasdaq, right? So if this is the Nasdaq we're looking at, this is the dump. Let's go to the 5-minute time frame right here. And you can see we have the dump on the Nasdaq today too, right? If I move over to Tesla, right? If I type Tesla, everybody knows Tesla. I think everybody knows Tesla in here. We can see, look, Tesla dumped. Why? Because it's inside of the Nasdaq. If I go to NVIDIA, right? What happened? It dumped. If I go to Amazon, AMZN, I think that's, I forgot to trigger someone on Amazon, hold on. I think it's AMZN. All these, yeah. Amazon, look, what happened? It dumped. So you guys are seeing, nice job for $4,200, let's go, pound on the back, brother. So if you guys are seeing all this stuff in here, these stocks, right, everybody should know what the stock is, hopefully, right, all these stocks are inside the Nasdaq. So if I'm trading options, right, I'm going to be trading stocks that are related to the Nasdaq. So for example, right, I love, like, when I actually, by the way, if you guys didn't know, when I first actually got into trading, I actually got into options before I even went into futures, right? So I actually traded options for about a year to 2 years, and then I kind of transitioned into futures, kind of put options on the back burner, and then now I kind of I'm thinking about, you know, getting into trading options and futures collectively. Okay, and I'll actually show you guys how you can trade. I'm gonna do a little drum roll. You can trade options on prop firms as well. A lot of people think options, you have to actually trade personal capital. There's no such thing as a prop firm options chart or stocks. There are, and I'll share that with you guys in a little bit. And this lesson and this thing is being recorded, so you guys can rewatch this as well. But if I go to, let's go back to Tesla here. Okay. Tesla, cool. And what's really cool, since Tesla and all these tech companies stocks follow the Nasdaq. So for example, if the Nasdaq is selling off, right, I can then put puts and calls. And again, options gets a little bit more confusing, you know, than obviously trading stock futures, right? Futures is simple, just buy and sell. Very, very interesting. Oh, these wicks over here, that's crazy. Right, we don't, but obviously market open, it doesn't do that, okay? And so, for example, if an NQ is falling, then Tesla is probably going to fall. And there's things that you can do called divergent plays, meaning let's say NQ's dumping, but Tesla's trading flat. Interesting, right? So then when, let's say, the Nasdaq has a massive wick to the upside, and Tesla might shoot up $3 or $2 or $1, okay? So you could actually kind of, I want to say see the future or predict where the stock's going, But if you use the Nasdaq with kind of looking to trade only tech stocks, we don't trade like any stock we want to. We only touch tech companies because it's part of the Nasdaq. To trade options, it can be a very, very good hedge or a very, very good add-on to trade, or be like, yo, I want to touch it. Now, this is all optional. I'm not saying you guys have to trade options, but this is knowledge of that you guys can then choose to use it, choose not to use it, but you at least know about it. Okay. So for example, I'm actually going to go to a thing called trade here. This is on, actually, I think it's, here we go. This is on Thinkorswim. Okay. Now I will show you what this looks like on a prop firm, but with options, right? So for example, let's say I wanted to trade Tesla and I wanted to short Tesla. Options is leverage. So you can make 10, 20, 30, 40, 50% of your investment in an option. So for example, these are called contracts and expiration date contracts. Okay. If you guys are asking, Will, which one should you pick? Which one should you use? You always want to pick the most one that's going to expire the soonest. So these contracts are going to expire January 29th. So tomorrow or today. Okay, so no, don't trade these. I lied to you guys. Oh no, that's not because we're on ES. I'm like, what the heck? Hold on. We have to actually go to Tesla chain here. Here we go. So these expire January 30th. Okay? Meaning, but we're only going to scalp these contracts, okay? So, for example, we pick the January 30th contracts, these expire, and on the left side, you can see this is called calls. On the right side, it's called puts. All right? Think of it like if you want to buy and you want to make money if the stock goes up, you're going to go calls. If the market goes down and you want to short it, you're going to go puts. Okay? Now, the question is which contracts, now since we have the contracts, there's a thing called a strike price. Okay? And I don't want to confuse too many people in here. But the strike price is you pretty much saying if it goes to this number that you think it's going to go to, your contract is going to be worth a crap ton, 10, 20, 30, 40%. I always usually pick out of the money contracts. Now, again, this probably is going to get a little confusing. There's things called in the money and out of the money contracts. In the money contracts are the purple. Out of the money contracts are the black. Now, each one of these is a contract you can technically purchase. Okay. I always pick the one right outside of in the money. So I always pick the strike at around 42.75, and you always want to make sure that it has a lot of volume. Okay. How do you know how much volume these contracts have? I think I just have to change the settings here to make sure it shows me the volume. But if you want to make sure the contracts have volume, because if the contracts don't have volume, it's not going to move. Okay, if you guys have questions or want me to stop or go over something again, please let me know. I'll go. I'll answer those questions for you guys. Okay, so I always pick, again, if I'm trading Tesla, Amazon, Facebook, whatever it is, I'm always going to put Tesla or whatever I'm trading. I'm always going to do the contracts that are going to expire the soonest. You can buy contracts that expire all the way in this December of this year, right? In 1,000 days from now, or 1,051 days from now, right? I wouldn't really recommend doing that. This is more hedging styles. It gets confusing. Just don't. I do the ones that are going to expire the soonest. And I always buy the strike or the contracts, the one or two away from the in the money. So it'll probably be one of these two that I would buy. Okay. If I think the market's going to go up. If I think the market's going to tank, I would buy one of these two. Okay. And then once you do that, right, I'm actually going to show you guys. I'm going to change my screen real quick as well. And I'm going to show you guys. Let me load. Hold on. A prop firm, because using options, right? Playing with options, same thing with playing with or trading futures. You guys don't want to trade your own money, okay? Wow, gold, by the way, is dumping like crazy right now. But no, we're done trading gold. So let me change my screen for you guys real quick and show you guys. There we go. So this is a prop firm where you can actually trade options and you can trade shares. Which this is actually the first prop firm, and I actually called the CEO or the CFO. You never could reach the CFO. And I was like, "Yo, you actually have an options stocks prop firm? Like that's actually insane. It's actually crazy. Didn't even know that." Okay, they're called Vanquish. They're really, really cool. And what's really cool is you can trade on eval stocks. Like you can trade stocks. It's crazy. Again, I will just do the options route. And then it's the same thing with any prop firm, right? 10,000, 50,000, 75,000, 100,000, or 150,000. And for example, I actually bought one of these accounts, by the way. Again, I would never tell you guys or recommend anything unless I put my money behind it. I actually put my money behind it. I bought a 150K, this guy right here, options one. And the targets are insane. It's 100%. There's no profit split with these guys. Whatever you make, you keep. There's no 80-20 profit split. There's no 90-10 profit split. It's 100% profit split. You get the money. So if you make $15,000, you can take $15,000. There's no max cap either on payouts. Like in Top Step, you only can take out $5,000. On top one futures, you only can take out like a few $1,000s. And then some other prop firms, you can only take out some as well. So this unlimited payout adds no cap on payouts, which is crazy. Okay. Now on the 150K, it says I have to make 10%. Right? So I have to make $15,000 in options to pass. Honestly, you get the leverage they give you in these is actually crazy. Okay, and I'll kind of talk about that in a little bit. $15,000 in options. I'll actually show you guys a journey. I'll document the journey for you guys so you can kind of see how I do it. But you have to make 50. This is the 50K. Now there's other ones like if you do 10,000, you have to make $1,000, 50,000, and so forth. On the $150,000, look at the drawdown you get, guys. $7,500 drawdown. That's crazy. That's the biggest drawdown that you get compared to futures, right? Insane, amazing, awesome, right? You get $7,500 worth of drawdown, right? There is an intraday trailing drawdown, but it's not like futures, so it's not as bad. Okay, so you don't have to really worry about the intraday trailing. It's not that bad. Obviously, no overnight positions and stuff like that. Now, they are expensive though. Okay, they are expensive because what? You get to keep 100% of your profits, and you get to and you only in this specific one you only have to trade 10 days till you pass, and then after that you literally get, if you make $5,000 the first day, you could take out $5,000 the first day, which is crazy. But look how much I paid, $750 for the 150K account. Now you guys can be like, holy crap, Will, that's expensive. Actually, I didn't pay $750. I paid like 20. They actually gave me a promo. I only paid 20%. I got 20% off. I paid like $600 for this account. Now again, you guys will be like, holy shit, Will, that's a lot of money. Again, if you know how to trade, you know how the strategy works. This number, if you think about the return on investment, is nothing. Now again, you can get literally a 50K account for $250. By the way, no activation fees, which is crazy. Okay. And then you get a 75K for $375, and then you get a $10,000 one for $100. It's really not that bad. Now, I'm actually going to show you guys. There's the account right there. I haven't traded it yet. Probably trade it tomorrow. But here's actually the application I will be using to trade. Right? If it's Tesla, Amazon, Facebook, or whatever, and all I will do. So let's say Nasdaq is falling. Right? The Nasdaq is dumping. Let's just say. Right? What I'm going to do is I will just do puts on Tesla. So for example, let's say NQ's falling. I'll have this open with my futures open, and I will just go ahead and see the strike price, kind of like I taught you guys before. I would hit this strike price, and I would pick, let me just move this out just a little bit more so you guys can see this a little better. I would pick puts, and I would do this one right here. So all I would do is I would click this right here. I don't know if it will actually let me, because I know the market's closed, so it's probably not going to let me. Okay, it's not going to let me because the markets are closed. It doesn't open back up till 8:30 tomorrow. But all I would do is I'll just click this guy right here, and then here it goes. It actually does it down here. There we go. And you can see it says Tesla buy to open, right, put. Okay, and so now I get to pick how many contracts I want to trade. Well, now I have $150,000. It's not like futures. You know, future prop firms are like, oh, you have $150,000 of buying power. No, you don't. They give you only can trade 15 minis. If you have $50,000 count on futures, you only can buy 5 minis. On what's it called? Options, I could technically buy, if I want to, $150,000 worth of option contracts, which I wouldn't recommend, because that, for the starting position of only $7,500 of drawdown, that's ridiculous. So what I would do is I would spend $7,000. Again, that's nothing for the balance. in that, and my goal is to make 10%. So what is $7,000 of 10%? Is $700. Okay, it would be risk. Or what you can do, or is you can put, okay, I'm gonna spend $4,000. So let's say how much is 18 contracts? Let me say confirm. That's $22,000. Let me pull this back a little bit here. 7 contracts. It's $8,000. Let's put that back a little bit more. Let's do $3,000. So you know with futures, guys, right? If you go in with one mini or one NQ, you can lose your whole position, right? If you don't have a stop loss, you can blow the account with just one contract. Well, if I'm going in with $3,826, right? Yeah, gold is dumping like crazy, by the way. So don't chase it. I'm done trading gold. If you guys continue on to trade that, do it. But I'm done trading gold. That might continue selling off, but it's up to you guys. Okay. Now, going back to what I was saying, though. So you guys can see that it costs $3,820 for 3 contracts. Well, you're going to be like, well, if I put $3,000, holy shit, gold is dropping. I have to stop looking at it or I'm going to get FOMO. Okay, how to stop looking at gold, holy shit. But anyways, so you guys can not only lose your investment. So if I spend $3,826, the worst possible ever, if you don't have a stop loss, you don't get out of the position or whatever, the worst possible thing that could happen is you lose $3,000. That's the worst case scenario, right? So whatever your investment is $3,000, right? So if you want to make sure that you don't blow your account by $1,000, by $2,000, by $3,000 worth of contracts. Now this $3,826 investment, I can make 20, 30% off of it, right? You can lose 20, 30% off of it, but you can make that as well, right? So all we would do is hit create order. I would make sure that the order type is market, kind of just like in futures. And all I would do, I'll mark it over, say confirm and send. I'll hit create order. It fills me. I'll see my P&L up here. And then when I'm out of the position, all I can do is I would just hit, I would honestly, to make it faster, I would just hit flatten all right here. And this gets me out of the position. Okay. So this is another one. And this is crazy. Usually with options, guys, that's why I'm kind of like really drilling this home. It's actually insane. And this is kind of what I found out about is usually with options, you cannot trade on prop firms. They don't let you trade prop firm capital. This firm does, right? And you could trade like 10. That's why $10,000 they give you in one of these things is crazy, right? Because if you spend $1,000, how much can you lose in this? Okay, you only can lose $500. So you have to be a little bit more careful, but you only have to make $1,000, right? So anyways, I just want to cover that. If you guys have more questions about this, I have no problem talking to you guys more in depth with this stuff. I'll guys send you the link as well in the Discord. I'll even send you guys, if you guys are interested or wanting to give it a try or anything, I'll give you guys a 20% off discount that I have as well, if you guys want. I would recommend, if you guys do this though, stick with the evaluation, stick with options. Don't do advanced options because this lets you trade spreads and Greek. Yeah, don't touch that. Just do this one, and then you can pick what count size you want if you guys ever want to trade futures with options. Now, you don't have to. This is just an extra tool and another thing you can know about. We will go more in depth with options and how to trade them on another time. Right? I'm not going to go all night and talk about options and how to trade them. We'll have a lesson, and I'll have the whole community know about this as well, and we kind of go more in depth with that for you guys too. So, cool. Questions, comments, I will post the link if you guys are interested. I will post a discount code as well if you're interested in the discounted prop firm section. And then if you guys don't want it, you don't have to trade it, but at least you guys are aware of how it is and how it works. All right. Questions, comments, concerns? Good. By the way, good job on trading tonight too. Absolutely, just one trade is all we needed. Here, I'm gonna reshare my screen on the charts here again real quick and go back to gold. But good work on, like, I want to actually see gold and how much it's dropping. It's actually crazy. Wow, holy bananas, right? And you guys made some crazy money on just this move. We made $2,000. Imagine this move. That's, again, don't feel FOMO. Don't feel FOMO, guys, but amazing trade. Don't feel FOMO.